Today we're going to review the 7 companies that announced raises in their dividends in the last week, 1 company who's decreasing their dividend to shareholders, and 3 companies who are providing a special dividend. And we're going to start right here with Watsco. And on Tuesday, they announced 11.4% increase in their quarterly dividend, giving them a forward yield of 3.93%. This is an air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration equipment, parts and supplies kind of company, and they trade in the industrial sector. They're going to go ex-dividend on January 13th with a pay date on January 31st. Also announced on Tuesday, Alpine Summit Energy Partners is raising their dividend by 5%, giving them a pretty hefty forward yield of 7.51%. They're going to go ex-dividend on January 13th with a January 31st pay date. Life Storage is raising their dividend by 11.1%, giving them a forward yield of 4.87%. This real estate investment trust is a quarterly payer, has some pretty solid dividend grades, has been giving a dividend for the last 26 years, and has been growing their dividend pretty consistently until January of 2021 when they actually reduced it. But it does look to be growing since that point in time. They'll go ex-dividend on January 12th with a pay date on January 26th. Bank OZK announced a dividend increase by 3%. They're actually down in share price by over 20% in the last year. They've got 24 years of dividend growth and a 5-year dividend growth rate of 12.16%. They'll go ex-dividend on January 13th with a pay date on January 24th. Alamo announced a raise in their dividend by 22.2%. They're actually down just under 7% in share price in the last year. They've got 8 years of dividend growth and a 5-year dividend growth rate of 12.47%. They'll go ex-dividend on January 17th with a pay date on February 1st. Next up is Enterprise Product Partners, and they announced on Thursday a 3.2% increase in their dividend, giving them a forward yield of 8.05%. I am a share owner of EPD, and they have been growing their dividend for the last 23 years. 5-year dividend growth rate is 2.43%. This is traded in the energy sector and goes ex-dividend on January 30th with a pay date on Valentine's Day on February 14th. Now let's take a peek at Vermilion Energy, who on Friday announced a 25% increase in their dividend, giving them a forward yield of 1.97%. They also announced the resumption of their share buyback program, and it keeps getting better because they are also expecting to return up to 25% of their free cash flow to shareholders in 2023 through its base dividend, those share buybacks, and anything left over will go into paying down their debt, which all sounds nice, but Seeking Alpha just actually issued a warning that VET is at risk of performing badly, which is really related to the slowed momentum and negative earnings per share. So just do your research before you enter into a position. Let's now talk about the one company in the last week that announced a decrease in their dividend, and it's BP Prudhoe Bay Royalty Trust, and they've decided to decrease that dividend by 57.7%. They still have a forward yield that's very hefty at 11.54%. They'll go ex-dividend on January 13th with a pay date on January 23rd. Now let's talk about the special dividends. We've got 3 of them, and Unit Corporation is the first. They've declared a $10 special dividend, and they're initiating a quarterly dividend of $2.50, which is going to be paid out sometime in quarter 2 on a date that they've yet to determine. Immersion, ticker symbol IMMR, has actually declared a 10-cent special dividend, and they've approved a new stock repurchase program of up to $50 million for 2023. They'll go ex-dividend on January 12th with a pay date on January 30th. And the last special dividend announced in the last week is W.R. Berkley declaring a 50-cent special dividend. They'll go ex-dividend on January 12th with a pay date on January 24th. And that wraps up the dividend news for the week. Take a peek at this video next.